move that Eddie is making for AJ? Why are you not thinking, let's get him set up for
kind of animal?
If that was years and years and years ago. Like, Clarissa is a way different fighter from when she was back in.
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on our
defenses that she's had to have recently. You know, she's pulled people.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RoundTable about tribalism. I don't think tribalism is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has to be.
I don't know what he think he sees or what he think he know. But he going to the hospital, bro. Like, bro, you not winning that fight.
You guys mentioned, I think, D-Style, you mentioned him versus Regis Prograis. I'd love that. Sounds like
old. I don't need you, you know, and PBC and others, in my opinion, it's like, oh, this is my guy. Like, there's a relationship.
Flat out, it's tough, and we call box, and we go to the end of the round, and then
that would say, what do you mean by acting black? That's a fair question, but a participant of trash talk knows.
And they're announcing a fight 3-4 months from now, and he ain't gonna fight. I bet you anything, he's not gonna fight somebody as good as John Wright. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me here on Archive. We've got a great panel for you here today. Being joined by Lyndon from the Boxing Deep Dive. Make sure you subscribe to their channel. Also, Coach Malachi. How's it going, brother? I hope everything's good on your end. And Jeff from Hot Boxing Minute. And, of course, News Media today with Coach Malachi. Make sure you check that out. Joel B will be joining us momentarily. Have some other panelists as well, like Calix coming on. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Right out of the gate, guys. Zhang upsets Joyce. What is the fallout of this? It was unexpected to me. I did not see this coming, although I was in shock that it happened. But nonetheless, what's next for each guy? Lyndon, let's start with you.
Look, yeah, I think for everyone agrees it was a massive upset, and I really didn't understand the logic behind Joyce choosing Zhang as an opponent. I mean, he's been talked about in these big fights with Joshua and Fury and everyone else. Zhang, you know, he's obviously got a great resume, Olympic silver medalist, all the rest of it. I didn't understand the fight. Bad fight. He hasn't handled southpaws very well. So, as I said, not a great choice. But I'm not quite sure what's next for Joyce. He's got to go back to the drawing board. Zhang, of course, we're already talking about fights against Fury and whoever else. So, some massive fights there for Zhang. But Joe Joyce has got to go back to the drawing board. He's got to go back and fight. Maybe it's a Dillian White or one of these types of guys to get sort of back up there. Dillian White seems to be the go-to person for a relaunch, I suppose. So that's probably what he's got to do. But geez, just bad management, I would think, on behalf of Joe Joyce.
All right. Zhang wants to fight for the heavyweight championship. He says he's getting up there in age. Even proposed, him versus Tyson Fury in China. I don't know if he'll get that, but do you think he'll get that opportunity, Lyndon?
Yeah, I do. What is he, 39? I think he is now. Yeah. So, look, as I said, it's a great win for him. And, I think someone like a Tyson Fury would look at him as the ideal opponent. He's now got cred, of course. Not that he didn't have cred before, but I think he'd be the right type of fight for Fury. So, yeah, I think there's a big fight on the horizon for him, as long as they act quickly and don't wait too long. But there's so many big name heavyweights out there at the moment, all looking for big fights. So, definitely I think he's in line for one of those guys.
Absolutely. Coach Malachi in the building. How's it going, brother? How you doing, man?
Yeah, everything good, man. It is what it is, man. I'm here.
That's right. Hey, Zhang got upset. I know that you were in awe by the defense of Joyce before this fight. What you think of the defense during this fight?
Oh, man, Joyce has always never had any defense to me. Doesn't know how to parry shots, doesn't know how to block, slip. I think the cross guard defensive work good for him. He's extremely slow. I've never seen what a lot of people saw in him, to be honest with you. He has very slow feet. He does have an engine, and once he gets to going downhill, he's a great, he's good at doing that. But I'm just being honest with you, fam. The defense, the lack of defense that he has, his calling card from what Frank Warren was saying, hey, man, he can take a hell of a punch and all that stuff there. And, I'm like, damn, if that's his claim to fame, taking a hell of a punch, then, okay, so be it. But he has a good engine, good, decent jab. He's just extremely slow. no defense at all. And in the heavyweight division, being extremely slow with not knowing how to block shots, parry, stuff like that, and knowing how to have any defense, that's a recipe for a disaster. So I'm not shocked that he, I know a lot of people picked him, and, but I'm not shocked, to be honest with you. It was either going to be Zhang or it was going to be somebody else of higher tier that was going to get him. So that's why I see it.
You see Zhang getting a title shot soon?
You know what? Yeah, just like Lyndon said, he's 39 years old. Maybe someone to look at him and be like, oh, he's 39 years old. He's older, kind of long in the tooth. Yeah, we'll give him a title shot because they feel like they can probably take him. You know what I mean? So maybe one of those top guys, Tyson Fury or Usyk, may look at him as an easy out. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, if the politics of boxing don't get into play, I don't know exactly where he's going to be at in the rankings now or whatever. But I mean, we'll see. Maybe Fury will give him a shot or Usyk. Who knows? I don't know how soon that'll be though.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Jeff, what's the fallout of this, man? Like, where do you see both guys going here, man? What do you see happening?
Yeah, it's a damn good question. And I don't really know. I was very surprised with Zhang Zhang's performance. Big up to that man from China. He's holding it down as a member of the almond-shaped eye rice eating committee. He gets my 2 thumbs up. Like, god damn. I think a lot of us miscalculated that. I think so. The funny part about Joe Joyce was in the buildup or leading up to this fight, a lot of us were so blinded by his most recent tear. He was Danny Dubois' eye socket. He was eating Carlos Takam shots like nothing, Christian Hammer, and then he stopped a person we perceived as a good mover, Joseph Parker, first person to ever knock him out. And that was just kind of bonkers to watch. And we'd seen Zhang, he kind of trudged through that weird little fight with Jerry Forrest, who was probably his toughest competition so far up until Philip Ergovic. Many of us thought he should have got the win against Philip Ergovic, but I didn't realize just how slick Zhang is. That dude gets his head off the center line. He's defensively very responsible, and that pop is clearly legit pop because he broke down Joe Joyce. Likely would have caused the orbital to fracture. I think the reports are coming back that it didn't. So now what do you do with Joe Joyce? Because he was on a ridiculous tear. And I agree with Coach Malachi's, assessment of, I've never been a big fan of, he's got an iron chin. Like, I really hate that description for any fighter, because at any given point, you watch the Jarrett Hurd effect go down, or the Sebastian Fundora will happen when they're taking too many shots and they're defensively irresponsible. That inevitably happens. Joe Joyce, maybe he's still a contender. I mean, him and Zhang are both getting up there in age, but those metrics coming back from China are hard to ignore. As far as Zhang, it's a potential untapped market. 13.2 million posts online at 5 a.m. after he got the win. That is arguably more than any fighter so far in boxing history in the social media era. I've seen numbers as high as 60 million people that were viewing that fight in China, and that's, you can't ignore those kind of numbers. So get him a fight in the bird box with Tyson or something in Beijing. I don't know. I don't know if any of those guys are going to want to fight him. Like, it's just too high, too risky to fight a guy that's 6'6" that has knockout power and understands angles and basic defensive fundamentals. So I don't know what the next move is for Zhang. I think he took that fight with Joe Joyce because nobody wanted to fight Joe Joyce because he looked so unstoppable with that engine and blocking everyone's fists with his chin. But hey, I'm all aboard the Zhang hype train. Let's go. I don't know how many years he got, but George Foreman pulled it off at 45, so I'm optimistic.
Sure. Oh, I wouldn't. Oh, well, it is what it is. Hey, yo, Ohio runs boxing. That's only his name. I'm not saying I agree, but how's it going, brother?
That's good, man. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I got to get your opinion on the Joyce Zhang fight, and what do you think is next for each guy?
First of all, I appreciate it. Name is Marcus, but yes, they call me Ohio Runs Boxing. That's something I started. But man, that was this is why we watch boxing. If anybody had what's his name losing, can't even think of his name. Joyce had Joyce losing. Anybody who had Joyce losing, I see you got Texas Runs Boxing. That's good. But no, anybody who had him, a lot of us had him winning, and I heard what the last guy said. Yeah. Zhang, I didn't have Zhang winning. I didn't have him winning. I had him I had him losing to Joyce. But that's why we watch boxing. This is one of the reasons why they have to fight the fights. We got a fight like this coming up now. Majority of people think Tank is going to get a knockout this weekend. And I just don't know. I don't know going into this fight about that. Things change, man. I think Joyce has took a lot of punishment. And yes, people were talking about Iron Chans, but it's like the same thing. We see this. We talking about this Iron Chan. It's not always good. Bragging about these guys can take shots like that because eventually it catch up with you. I mean, and Fedora and Jared Hurd. I mean, yes, it's the same thing, man. We start praising these guys, and if they don't fix it, eventually, what they're gonna do? They're gonna, take their loss and then blame their trainers, and blame the trainers, and then go to somebody else, and still look like. Still look the same. I mean, look at Jared. Jared went somewhere else, and everybody's like, "Oh, he got a new trainer." No, these guys is who they is, man, and that's who they becoming. I don't think Fedora or Joyce is going to be. It's going to change anything, man. He's late in his career. I just don't think it's going to change. I looked at it, and I'm an Ohio guy. Jared eats that guy alive. Like, it's not even me being funny. Jared eats Joyce alive. It ain't even gonna be close,
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's not. Wouldn't even be close.
I'm very high on Jared, so I do agree with you. I'm just waiting for them to make the move, But I think Top Rank has their way of doing things. That they have their methodology.
Oh, absolutely.
And right now it's a little too slow for my liking, but I get it either way. Like that. Always in the end they always make that leap of faith, but I think it's time.
They're going. He's going to get his home fight debut. He's debuting at home, headlining, and I think it's going to be in July. So that's going to be good. So we'll have a good thing. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Joyce, man. I think Zhang, he in the mix now. I mean, like this, we need these guys at the heavyweight. It's not as wide, but yeah, I like seeing Zhang, man. I want to see him again with some more guys. So yeah. Great.
Most definitely. Now, JC says he picked Zhang. Check the receipts. Okay. Everybody, JC picked Zhang. Give him his respect. There you go, guy. Okay.
Okay. Sweet.
It is what it is. Let's go ahead and proceed here. Let's get to the Showtime DAZN pay-per-view. Gabe Rosado against Beck the Bully. Ohio runs boxing. Will this be a repeat? Will Rosado score the knockout, or Beck the Bully do a course correction and get revenge here?
I didn't even watch the first one, so I'm not even gonna act like I seen that first fight, man. So you go to the next fight. I didn't even see the first fight.
All right, there's nothing much to see. It's just a knockout, but I got you. Hey, Coach Malachi, will this be a repeat, or will he get revenge?
Which fight? Which fight is this?
Rosado versus Beck the Bully.
I remember the first fight. I think Beck the Bully was saying that I think it was a fluke. The first time when Rosado won and stuff like that. I really don't know, man. Gabe is the gatekeeper at this point. Let's just be honest. He got like 17, 19, 20 losses. He got like 13, 14. I don't know how many losses. Yeah, he's like Derek Chisora losses. So, he puts on a good fight. But I just look at him as a gatekeeper. I'm gonna go with Beck the Bully on this one. I think he gets revenge.
Let me go back. I did see that fight. Is that the one with Gabriel? Gabe, he won. He got the upset knockout, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he did. Okay, I did watch that. I just thought about that. Yeah. I don't think it's so.
If Gabe was from Ohio, he would have remembered. But
stop it! Nah, Gabe, he's been in the game for a long time, man. He's been in the game for a long time. I show love to everybody else too, man. I just got to know my back in my state and headed more than anything. But no, Gabe is definitely a vet. I think it's time though. I don't think he can probably pull it off, man. He's aging, man. He's there now. But again, you got to respect a fighter like that. I root for guys like that who stay in the game. I mean, we got a guy named Darnell Boone from Youngstown, Ohio, who made a career and upsetting guys, you know, man, and knocking guys out. So
he almost beat Andre Ward, didn't he?
Yeah, sure did. Knocked him down. Absolutely. So yeah, we got I respect guys like that, man, to be in the game. So I'm actually rooting for him.
No, most definitely. Hey, Jeff, I don't need to remind you. I mean, Bektemir was getting the best of Rosado, then he got him with a nice, beautiful counter. Bektemir, maybe. Do you think he got a little too overconfident, or do you think it was just a perfect timing, and do you think he can repeat it again?
Oh, he for sure got overconfident. He was kind of landing at will against Rosado and kind of just really overlooked Rosado, and that was his mistake. I don't see him making that same mistake. He's definitely made defensive improvements since that loss to Rosado. His last fight was against my gym mate Ulysses, knocked him out in the 3rd round. He hit him with a body shot, and he caught a shot flush in the face. And I've seen my guy Ulysses break 2 people's orbitals, so
wow,
he's got a strong head, but clearly it didn't phase him. And I don't see him being as defensively irresponsible against Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado, I believe that this is going to be his swan song. So salute to Gabe Rosado and journeymen like him, guys like the aforementioned Darnell Boone or Augustus Emmanuel, you know, those kind of guys who are just fun to watch, who are an upset risk at any given time. But yeah, Gabe is toast, man. I like Gabe too, but Gabe, no, man. Beck is on a tear, and he's probably going to be one of the top names in the middleweight, super middleweight division going into the next 5 to 6 years. Like Beck's nice.
Okay. Lyndon, do you think lightning will strike twice, or do you think it wasn't lightning? It was just great timing that he could pull off again.
Well, it's probably a little bit of both. Look, I agree with the guys. I'm a big fan of Gabe Rosado. I think we need guys like him in the sport. Yes, he is a gatekeeper or journeyman or however you want to define him. But you know, we need fighters like him in boxing. He always brings it. Look, I think this time, though, the bully sets the record straight. Look, he was actually doing quite well the first time, but he got hit with that Marquez type of right hand and it was all over. But I think... And you look at what's happened since. I think the Bully's won 4 or 5 straight fights. Rosado's, I think, lost his last 3 fights. So I think the Bully gets it done this time. He won't be as sloppy, and you would hope not anyway. So I think if he's got, you know, the right plan going in, you should play a little bit safer and respect Rosado a little bit more, and I think he gets the job done.
Yeah, I do agree with you guys. I think it was a matter of it was a great case of victory has defeated you, right? And he had too much success for his own good, and kind of got a little too overconfident. And you can't get that overconfident with a veteran like that, because they're going to take advantage of any opening, because they've seen everything, and if they see an opening, they're going to take advantage of it right away, right? So I do think it will be a course correction this time, and I think Bektemir will continue to beat up Gabe Rosado, but this time he's going to stay more composed and maybe take his time some more and take him out of in the mid to late rounds. That's how I personally see that fight. Let's go ahead and get to a DAZN fight. Okay, that's going to be happening. Actually, we'll skip that for now. Let's go ahead and get to the Tank Davis Ryan Garcia fight. All right, this fight right here, I am looking forward to this one. All right. Different people have different opinions about this fight, but one thing that cannot be ignored, in my opinion, is that it's a big deal. Okay, we have the mainstream sports media talking about this fight. Now, I don't like their opinion. I think they sound ignorant as shit, but nonetheless, Stephen A. Smith is talking about it. They're all talking about it. ESPN's on it. Like, everyone's talking about this fight. And I think that's good for boxing overall, and hopefully the fight delivers, right? Before I take it to the panel, what I'm going to say is this. I don't mind people saying the fight's going to do better numbers than Lomachenko-Haney, because it probably is. It probably is going to be watched by more people. What I'm not going to do is call this fight a world title fight, because it's not, okay? There's only one champion at lightweight. His name is Devin Haney. So I'm not going to call this a world title fight. All right. I'm also not going to call this, my opinion, I'm not going to call this the fight for lightweight supremacy, because again, it's not. All right. I think the fight is big for what it is. You have 2 fighters that are huge on social media with 2 big followings. It's a grudge match. May the best man win. But I'm not going to call it something it's not. That's just my opinion. All right. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I see it everywhere. I see people hyping the thing up. But that is that. So let's start with my partner in crime, Joe Habib. Ryan. We're talking about Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. Let us start it. What's your excitement level for this fight? I don't know if you saw the press conference or not, by the way, but if you want to comment on that. All right. So what's your excitement level? And who do you think is going to win this fight?
My excitement level right now is off the charts. The excitement meter has blown its gasket. I am very, very excited for this fight. I just like the energy from both fighters. I think Ryan is going to win a unanimous decision in this fight. And I know a lot of people are saying, Tank's more experienced, but I'm just looking at both fighters' resume at lightweight specifically. And I think they're pretty much even. And I've gone as far as saying, and I've gotten a lot of flack for this, I think Luke Campbell is better than anyone that Tank Davis has fought at lightweight. Now, overall, I think Tank does have the better resume overall, but I'm just talking specifically at lightweight because Tank really, he's fought good fighters at lightweight, but not great fighters. He fought Gamboa. Isaac Cruz is a good fighter, but again, I don't think he's better than Luke Campbell. But with that being said, I think Ryan is quicker than Tank. I think I would give the edge in power to Tank, but it's very close and comparable. The big thing here is I think that Ryan has a very good ability to fight on the outside, whereas Tank is more of a mid-range guy. He's got to get close. Tank is a counterpuncher. Ryan can counterpunch in. He could fight well from the outside, and he can be an aggressive fighter as well. Tank is more economical. I think Ryan is a bit busier. So I see Ryan being able to keep Tank on the outside. I see Tank trying to set traps. I think both guys are going to fight tactical, but I think Ryan's going to be the busier guy from the outside with the jab. I see him piling up points. I see him, fighting smart. I see Tank kind of fighting smart as well. And I think this is going to be more of a chess match than people really think. And I see, at the end of it all, I think Garcia will be landing more punches, and I think he'll win the rounds based off of activity. So I'm going with him by decision. Could be split, could be majority, but I think he will win the decision.
Scale of 1 to 10. 1, not that excited. 10, as excited as you could be. How excited are you?
15.
Yeah, okay. Off the charts, right? Lyndon, how excited are you, like over there in Australia for like is there buzz for this fight over there, or are you pumped up for this fight?
I'm pumped for it. I can't wait. Look, I think it's obviously a big deal amongst the hardcore fight fans, but down here in Australia, the excitement level is probably not what it is over there, because our sort of fight fraternity over here, or fight fan fraternity over here, is probably a lot smaller, obviously, than there. But we are hardcore. We love our boxing, and the real hardcore fans can't wait. But I think it's on at 10 a.m. in the morning over here, so it's probably not like over there where you spend the whole day getting hyped up and go out for beers and have barbecues and all that sort of stuff. But no, look, we can't wait, just like you guys over there. But I think the fight itself, look, it's so unpredictable how this fight's going to go. I can see it going in all different directions. I agree with Joe. It could be a tactical affair and Garcia wins on points, or it could be a 1-minute blowout. Either way, you just don't know. My personal opinion is I think Garcia has a lot of success early. He does like to start fast. He's very explosive. He may hurt Davis early, might even put him down. But I just think as the fight goes on, I just think Davis finds his groove. He finds his range, and I just think he breaks Garcia down a little bit. And my opinion is he gets him out of there in about 8 or 9 rounds in a very exciting fight. But as I said, there's so many different intangibles that go in, so many different ways this could go. But I'm sort of sticking to, I suppose, the script of how the careers have progressed so far. And I just think Garcia starts fast, Davis breaks him down and stops him in 8, 9, maybe 10 rounds.
All right, man. Coach Malachi, how do you see this fight, and what is your excitement level, brother?
Sorry about that. I had it on mute. I've been going back and forth with this fight for a little bit. I went from, okay, man, Ryan don't stand a snowball chance in hell, to just really looking at it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what? and I've spoken to a lot of people about this. San Antonio, LA, New Mexico, Kansas City, all of the boxing experts are picking Tank. When I say experts, I'm talking about the guys who are trainers, the guys, the guys who are managers, promoters. There's different people I met in different gyms, from Brickhouse Gym to Robert Garcia's gym and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, okay, a bunch of Hispanics and Chicanos are going for Tank, which was alarming to me. So I said, okay, well, and I thought about it, right? I looked at it, and I said, and then I interviewed Joe Goosen, and I said, you know what, man, like, I'm anxious to see this fight because I'm very excited about it. I have a couple of friends that's doing a fight party, and I'm like, I broke it down from a stylistic standpoint, boxing standpoint. Tank has the footwork, Tank has the punching power, but Ryan Garcia has punching power as well. Will Ryan Garcia better utilize his jab to keep the distance and range? And I want to know how, we know what Tank brings to the table. He has power, this and that, yada, 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 yada. But it's two things that people haven't spoken about that I spoke to. I'm like, Ryan has damn good timing. He has damn good timing, and he has damn good punching power. So I'm hearing one aspect. Well, we know when Tank touches Ryan, he gonna knock him out. Okay, what happens when Ryan touches Tank? It's not like Tank is Ryan is Mario Barrios or somebody who don't have no punching power. So I say, man, this guy might be really more of a live dog in this. And a lot of these experts and pros have gotten fights wrong all the time. This is why they have upsets. Look how many people picked Joe Joyce last week. Ain't nobody saw that coming. You get what I'm saying? So and these have come from guys who've been watching boxing since the 1800s. So everybody know everything until when the fight happens, and then you like, God damn, man, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I know you didn't see it coming. We don't see it coming. We don't know. So my thing is this here. It's easy to lean towards Tank because he has the footwork. You can say he fought the better competition. He's very good at setting up his shots. He has a high ring IQ. He knows how to close distance very well. He's fast as all outdoors. And Ryan Garcia, from a defensive standpoint, he does have a lot of defensive deficiencies. He likes to pull straight back, chin in the air, yada, 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 yada. But Tank doesn't have the guys who knocked Ryan down or caught him on the chin were guys who were tall. You know what I mean? They had the length. Tank is 5'5". He doesn't have the arm reach like that. So I'm thinking Tank may have to go to the body, stuff like that. I'm picking maybe Tank can get Ryan out of there maybe in the 9th round. But if it go 12 rounds, I got Ryan winning this fight in the 12-round decision. So that means that Ryan was able to outbox Tank, and whatever game plan that Joe Goosen put together for Ryan, it worked to perfection. He's going to have to fight a perfect fight. He does have, he's going to have to fight a perfect fight. But again, this is a toss-up, man. This is a toss-up for me. So, but I'm leaning towards Tank 9th round stoppage. If it go 12 rounds, I got Ryan winning in the decision.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Ohio runs boxing. Who are you rolling with, and what's your excitement level for this fight?
Man, I agree what he just said. We do this all the time, man. This is why you fight the fights when it comes to predictions. A lot of people do have Tank, even getting a knockout. But I've seen this. They use. I hate hearing this excuse where they see Ryan been clipped. And we say stuff like, well, if, Campbell clipped him, what do you think Tank gonna do? I hate that because when you're fighting power punchers, let me help y'all understand this, and not talking to y'all on the panel, but a lot of guys who haven't been in this sport, the casuals, I don't care how many times he's been clipped, but when you fight a guy who can punch, your defense get better automatically. It seemed like it's hard to touch you. And I'm going to tell y'all, I remember this when they did this to Ersalandi Laura when he got knocked down, not once, not two, but I think it was 3 times, correct me if I'm wrong, against Angulo before he fought Canelo. And people was bringing that up. What do you think Canelo going to do? Oh, my goodness. Laura looked like this, we can't wait. Canelo barely touched him up top because Canelo couldn't cut the ring off. And Laura knew that Canelo can punch, and he stayed disciplined. All that stuff that happened in previous fights didn't show up at that fight. It didn't happen at all. And I can see Ryan stepping up to the plate and and really performing well. I can see him staying the distance. Would I bet Tank for the knockout? I mean, you gotta bet go with that because of what Tank done. But in boxing, I've seen it. It's like it's making Ryan get so much confidence because they're disrespecting this guy, man, who's had over 200 amateur fights. He beat my guy. I've been knowing Ryan for a long time. He beat Tiger Johnson. And Tiger Johnson is pretty good prospect coming out of in Ohio right now for top rank. But he don't get the respect he deserves. But I do think this is going to be a good fight. I'm excited because I think this is one of the reasons I'm excited. I hope they put pressure on all the other fighters to start fighting now. And shout out to Ryan because Ryan really made this fight. Y'all know I'm an Al Hammond guy. He's from Cleveland, PBC, Ohio. But again, Ryan took the claws. He didn't care what it was. He made the pressure. He didn't want no tune-up. The promoters, both promoters in this fight didn't even want to, they was going up speaking around the bush. It was Ryan who put the pressure on it. And that's why I respect Ryan. No matter what happens in this fight, you got to give him his respect because he made this fight. And he probably changed the dynamics in boxing by making this fight. So shout out to Ryan for that. But let me make it short. I think I do still have Tank winning, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the 11th to 12th round. Ryan is still in this fight, and I think the pressure gonna come in. And here's the thing: be careful because this fight can look like Teofimo versus Sandor Martin. If y'all remember that fight, Teofimo was Heisman night. The pressure is on Tank, not Ryan. The pressure is on Tank to get the knockout. And what do? You use his aggressiveness against him. That's why Teo. And then you got that check hook that Martin was hitting him with. He clipped him 2 times. So you gotta. Ryan can actually use Tank's aggressiveness against him. So it's going to be really, really good. I want to point that out. That's my thought on that. I do think I'm edging Tank to win, but I would not be surprised if Ryan pull it off.
Really quick, shout out to Remy. I appreciate the support. He says, what's up, D-Style and everyone? Thanks for that, brother. Hey, Jeff, what's your excitement level for this fight? And what's your prediction?
Oh man, I'm out there with a Habib, man. My excitement level is a 15. Oh, it's through the roof. They're really the fact of the matter is there's no sport in America like boxing that intersects culture, intersects sports, intersects technology. It's always been like that with boxing. John L. Sullivan with the telegrams in the late 1800s. He became a nationwide phenomenon, issuing call-outs to national cities saying, whoever in the city can beat me, I'll pay you $150. Then Jack Dempsey was there when the radio became broadcasted, and he became a national sensation. You had Rocky Marciano with the television, closed circuit television, and Muhammad Ali, right? Social media came around, and Floyd Mayweather took off like a rocket thanks to social media. And now we're at like the second phase of this social media transformation with Tank and Ryan. I mean, these two guys are basically unproven. They're both products of extraordinarily intelligent marketing. And, we got Tank Davis, who's a phenomenal knockout machine. So far, it looks like Ryan Garcia is. Are we going to end up with a Julian the Hawk Jackson versus G-Man fight? Or are we going to end up with a Roy Jones Jr. versus James Toney type of technical chess match? Once they feel each other's wrath, will they be apprehensive? We don't really know until they get in the ring. I saw a lot of good, as far as he's keeping his guard hand up against the southpaw. I didn't see Ryan dropping his guard hand too many times against Javier Fortuna, who arguably is not as hard a puncher as Tank Davis is, but man, with punchers of the power that these guys have, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So I can see anybody's perspective on this and totally agree. Be like, all right, whatever, for me, I'm going to go with what my computer first came out with as soon as I found out the match was being made. I'm going to go with the history of Tank being in these situations and this being Ryan's first experience. I'm going to go with Tank by late stoppage. But what the heart wants is I want Ryan to knock out Tank because I want to see the internet burn. And yeah, I would love it. I would love nothing more than to see all the Tank sexuals burn. Like, oh, that would be so hilarious. That would be so hilarious. Like, at least Ryan Garcia fans are like teeny boppers and they don't really talk about boxing. I like Ryan because he's on Instagram. Like, they don't want to argue about boxing, but I don't want to hear about this 3-division champion nonsense because, like I was saying on Twitter, like, are we going to throw Bernard Hopkins under the bus and make Gennady Golovkin the most successful defenses of a middleweight championship? How much weight are we putting in Reggie? Y'all tell me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to knock what Tank has done and the type of entertainment value he provides, selling out arenas left and right. You can't deny that. Like he brings in the culture. He brings the hood in the streets, man. We rock with Tank, but maybe it's Ryan's moment. Who knows? But yeah, I'm picking Tank to go by late stoppage.
Look, the NIT ain't the same as the NCAA championship, right? The CFL Great Cup is not the same as a Super Bowl. Like it's a championship, but it's not the championship. And Reggie belt to me, it's a JV belt, right? Go ahead, Beep.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. And Bernard Hopkins still holds the record. It's not Gennady. It's Bernard.
I think this rehydration clause in this catch weight may even backfire on Tank because I've been hearing he's been having problems making weight. And he's the only fighter that has missed weight, not once, but twice. And once was at lightweight. And there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with Tank right now, man. And it does look a little puffy right now. I'm being honest. So this is going to be interesting, man, how Tank reacts to this weight clause because he may regret putting that in there himself. Could backfire. Could backfire.
Shout out to boxing. The one and only. A shout out to D-Style. You were a G last Sunday on Beep's podcast. All right.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna just move on from there. But look, I understand me and Beep got heated, but let me tell you something. If anybody else talks to Beep that way, you're gonna get my wrath. Okay. But with that said, look. I want to get your guys' perspective. I'll start with you, Ohio Runs Boxing. I'm going to do an over-under pay-per-view buys. Over-under 600,000 buys domestic. Over-under, Ohio.
I'm going to have to go over. I'm going to go over, man. When I start seeing a lot of people who don't watch boxing talking about this event, and everywhere I go, I'm going over because it's a lot of people see, so I'm going over.
Does it get to 1 million?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I mean, yeah, so I would stick between the 600 and 800 if I'm betting man, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if we just hit that.
Okay.
It's being well promoted.
Jeff, over, under, and if it's over, does it get to 1 million?
Oh, it's over 600,000. I agree with what Ohio Runs just said right now. For me, because I live in an echo chamber. Like I go to work, when I'm not at work, I'm in the gym. I'm in the boxing gym. So I don't really have a good gauge on what society says. My gauge is the youngsters at my gym, because contrary to popular belief, the people in these gyms, they don't watch the damn sport. They only watch the biggest fights. But all the youngsters on the amateur team and all them dudes is all every single day for like the last 2-3 weeks. What you think about Tank Ryan, Jeff? What you think about Tank Ryan? What you think? Oh, I love it. I love it when they ask me because that lets me know that's for each person that asks. I'm like, oh, that's thousands of purchases right there. What you represent, you don't even know. Or like my boss at work, who barely watches boxing, asks me about it. I tutor math to kids that are junior high and high school age. When they ask me about it, my ears start. Oh, it's going over 600,000. I hope it does over 1 million. Man, that would be phenomenally awesome. I don't know in this age of piracy if it happens, but definitely over 600,000. I think this fight's going to be huge because I have just been getting too many questions from the casuals. Too many.
Hey, let me say this real quick because I got to get off, man. And
Sure.
I appreciate you having me on. I got to go clock in, but Jeff, I see you got my guy Kelly Pavlik from Youngstown, Ohio. I see you rocking my boy, man. I just want to give you a shout out on that, and I appreciate it, man. I'm definitely gonna be back on here in a timely manner, So thank y'all for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Well, Steph, have a good one.
Yep.
Coach Malachi, over under 600,000.
I'm gonna go under, and here's why. The reason I'm gonna go under is because there are a lot of people that's very excited about this fight. I do have friends that's older than me that's they're saying they're gonna throw fight parties. So when you know how it is when people go start throwing fight parties, there's a lot of excitement about this fight. But some of them have the Fire Stick. They're streaming it, and a couple of them, my cousin said they're doing a fight party. They're gonna buy the fight, purchase the fight. So there's going to be a mixture of people who buy the fight versus people who stream the fight. And it's really kind of hard to tell Some of these streaming sites are good. I don't know what type of streaming blocking technology that the PBC or Showtime may have to cut the streaming down, but the piracy is going to be huge. And the thing is they're marketing it to I like to call them the 20 boppers, those kids that are on Twitch and Instagram and stuff like that. I mean, how many of those kids are going to buy the fight? And my friends who are buying, my friends, the ones who said they're going to purchase the fight and the ones who are going to stream it, they're older. So, of course, they have the money to buy it. But these guys who they're marketing it towards, are they going to buy it? They know how to stream. You know what I mean? So you know, I say that it'll do under. I say it'll do maybe like 500-something thousand because of the streaming. That's my take on it.
Nando Yama's pay-per-view should only be a fight party worthy. This one is Fire Stick might get you jumped if it goes out. LOL. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Nando Yamas. I appreciate the support. Hey, Joe, over under.
There always comes that one fight every now and then, maybe once every 2-3 years, that people just say, you know what? I'm just going to buy this one. Fuck the Fire Stick. Fuck the streaming. I'm just going to buy it because I don't want buffering. I don't want the stream to go out. This is a fight that people are excited about. Originally, I thought this would probably do 500,000 pay-per-view buys, but maybe this is just me from anecdotal experience, but I'm just hearing a lot of buzz around this fight. I hear a lot of people talking about it, people who normally don't talk. I think Jeff mentioned the people who normally don't talk about boxing are talking about this fight. This could touch 1 million. This could touch 1 million. I'm usually skeptical, but I think this one could touch 1 million.
Would you have been more confident if it was priced a little lower? Like that, I don't think
I thought the $100 price was going to affect Pacquiao Mayweather. Remember when we talked about that? I thought I thought it would do 3 million because of the price, and it ended up doing 4.6. So
let me adjust the question because Lyndon's not from the U.S., right? So he's probably thinking, why is he going to ask me that? But is it? Do you think it's going to do anything in Australia, Lyndon, like this fight?
Oh, look, no, I don't think it'll do big numbers here. As I said before, I think the hardcore fans will buy. It's only $29.99 over here, by the way, so it's obviously a lot cheaper than what it is there. But having said that, you know, if an Australian fights overseas, we're paying $69.99 or $59.99 for watching an Australian in the States. But look, I think I do sort of keep track of the pay-per-views in the States. I think it does 8 to 900,000. I think De La Hoya is obviously very confident it'll do more. He's talked it up the whole way that it could break records. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near that. But based on what I've seen with the other big pay-per-views over there, over the journey, I think 8 to 900,000 would be about it, I would think. But however, I could agree with Joe that it could be, up to 1 million. I could also agree that it could only be 500,000 or 600,000, but I think about 8 or 900 would be about right. But to answer your question, I don't think it'll do massive numbers here. However, the small number of people that will buy it here are very excited about it, and we can't wait. And just how good it is for boxing that you've got two young guys who are, going to war. We don't see it enough these days, and let's hope it's the, it's the start of a trend where hot young fighters fight each other and get the MMA type of sort of thing going, where it's not about the record, it's about legacy and fighting the best. So hopefully this is the start of something along that way.
So a couple of things I want to mention here, because I do hear a lot of people say, the reason pay-per-view suffered today is because of the streaming and all that. But it's twofold. So one, whenever the fights that get streamed the most still get bought the most. Like there's no correlation with the more they get streamed, the less they sell. Right? Like the fight that was streamed more than any fight in history was Pacquiao Mayweather. And guess what? It was the most sold in history, because what piracy and buying it, they're tied together in terms of interests, right? People are interested in watching it. Some either they don't want to pay for it, but they want to watch it. Some are willing to pay for it, or vice versa. But it all comes together. The only thing that's making me question here is Malachi didn't mention this is a whole new generation, right? I have a little cousin that was like telling me how he already saw the Creed 3 movie like months ago. I don't know. Well, what do you mean you saw it? Oh yeah, well I got it on my Fire Stick. I already got it but before it came out of the theaters. I'm like, how the hell would you see that? So everything gets pirated now. They know how to pirate anything. And they want to see Ryan versus Tank for free. Nothing is going to stop a lot of these kids today that, I mean, I don't even understand half of the shit they do with electronics. And I thought I was pretty electronically inclined. I'm not. Not when I compare it. So there's no doubt that that's going to be an effect. But I will say this. If you want to, like if a fight has what Nando said, that fight party feel where you want to invite people over. It has that, like the Super Bowl, you're going to invite people over, right? A big fight feel. Most people in that situation don't pirate the fight, right? They actually just buy it. It's less of a hassle, right? And if you get several people together to pitch in, right, it's not that big of an expense, which is why the Pacquiao, you know, the Pacquiao Mayweather was not affected by the price, right? I'm going to say it does over 600,000. I think it'll do about 800,000. It's what I'm going to say. All right. Domestically. And I think worldwide, it'll probably reach the 1 million, but we will see. We'll see where that goes. And I'm also basing it off this. So according to Leonard Allerby, it's already in the top 10 biggest gates ever, right? Not adjusting for inflation. And usually there's a correlation with the gate, right? And with the pay-per-view buys. Usually when it's close to 20 million the gate, there's a good chance it's going to do close to or not surpass 1 million. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if it gets there. You got to put that out there, right? Shout out to Luis Puente. I don't think pay-per-view will be sustainable in 10 years. Probably not. Not at this rate, that's for sure. But we will see. I mean, we've been saying that for how long, Joe? And it's pay-per-view still around. Like so.
Pay-per-view is never going away. There's always going to be the fights that are just going to warrant pay-per-view. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's never going away.
There's always going to be some type of paywall, I think. Look, you guys got to remember, DAZN came in, we're going to get rid of pay-per-view. You know, pay-per-view's dead. Well, now they're doing pay-per-view, so I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and proceed here. DAZN earlier in the evening, at least here stateside, there's going to be what I believe is a very, very underrated fight card. But Joe Cordina, versus Rakhimov will be headlining this fight. It's a 130-pound title fight. Cordina, this week, he's going to be called Cordina, okay? Honorary Mexican, right? Because it sounds Mexican. But I'm looking forward to this fight, man. For those that don't remember, Cordina is coming off the KO of the year candidate over Ogawa. Okay, that's one of the best knockouts I ever seen. I thought it was a knockout of the year, but a lot of people thought maybe the Conlon one when he got knocked out of the ring by Woods. But there was a lot of great candidates. But Jeff, who do you got in this fight, brother?
Ooh, I like this fight. I like Rakhimov. He got that recent win, I think, of Delta Barrett or whatever his name is, a boxer. Joe Cordina is also a boxer himself. I got put on to Joe Cordina a couple of years ago, and I've always been impressed with him. He's one of those, definitely a boxer that will win every single round with just clear, clinical, sweet science. One of the best talents out there in the UK. He's from Wales. He did get that knockout of the year over Kenichi Ogawa. For those of you that don't know, Kenichi Ogawa was the one that beat Tevin Farmer or whatever, or got the no contest and then ended up pissing hot or something like that. But that's besides the point. I think this is Joe Cordina's fight to win. Rakhimov is a tough guy. He trains with Freddie Roach out there at Wildcard Gym, so he's going to come in well trained. He's coming off one of his career best wins against Barrett, who's a big name out there in the UK. But Joe Cordina is that guy. I mean, he trains with Tony Sims. Tony Sims is the same gym as Conor Benn and Felix Cash. So Tony Sims has that God-given ability to turn regular boxers into knockout artists. Maybe it's the eggs, I don't know. But Joe Cordina, I think he's going to win this late stoppage. To be honest, I think he's going to break Rakhimov down and try to make another statement, because I think Joe Cordina wants to unify those belts. He shouldn't have lost the belt in the first place, but that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, that's a lot of politics right there for sure. Coach Malachi, who do you got in this fight, brother?
It's a tough one. You talking about
Joe Cordina and Rakhimov.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, man. That's a tough one, man. Cordina, I'm kind of leaning towards. You know what, D style. What I normally do when I make these picks, I normally like, okay, let me go back and look at a couple of fights and who's training who this time and stuff like that. I like the brother just said about Cordina has who does he have in this corner again? Who's his
Tony
trainer?
Sims.
Tony
Sims.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I'm gonna ride with Cordina on this one. I think I was talking to my brother, man, because my brother really loves Cordina a lot. I think I'm gonna take him by 9th round, 9th to 10th round knockout. Believe it or not.
Okay.
By 9th to 10th round knockout, I think he'll pull it out.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Now, Joe Cordina, like I said, he's coming off a knockout of the year over Ogawa. Rakhimov, I mean, he was kind of getting outboxed by Barrett, but he came back from behind, got a TKO. Can he pull that off again this night, Joe?
Well, Cordina is thought of as the more refined of the two. He's the guy who boxes from the outside more so. He's got the great right hand. Rakhimov is an aggressive guy. He's more of a rugged type grinder type guy. Throws a lot of punches. Cordina may have a little bit of edge in foot speed, but the thing about Rakhimov is he's just so determined. He just keeps coming forward, throws a ton of punches. And I actually think he's the better of the two on the inside. The question is, can he get inside? And eventually he always does seem to get inside, right? Because he's very crafty. He knows how to feint his way in. I actually think that Rakhimov is going to probably pull this out. I think he's going to pour it on in the end. I think Cordina will start fast. He may have some early success, but I just think Rakhimov will probably wear him down. But I don't think there's going to be a stoppage in this fight. I think this fight goes the distance, and I think Rakhimov pulls it out in the later rounds. I think I can see Cordina winning like the first maybe 3 rounds, and maybe Rakhimov comes back with maybe 1 or 2, and then kind of goes back and forth. But I think from round 7 through 12, I think it's a different fight. I think Rakhimov's just got that gas tank, that engine. He's got that dogged determination, as I said earlier. And I think Cordina is going to be the guy who's going to have to keep him off him. And despite when a guy keeps coming at you, no matter what you're throwing at him, it's not only the physical pressure, but it's the mental pressure of having to fight that guy off you for the 12 rounds. And I know Cordina has a good right hand, but Rakhimov is a very sturdy guy himself. He's got a very tight, tough defensive construct. I think this second half of the fight, I think Rakhimov's going to pull away.
Okay. There's several people in the chat thinking that he's going to get a late stoppage or take over in the second half. Interesting. Lyndon, how do you see this fight playing out, brother?
Yeah, I really liked his fight. Look, I probably prefer it more if it was on neutral ground, I suppose, because it's in Cardiff, obviously, so it's a big advantage to Cordina. But I agree. I think Rakhimov. I think he's like the Russians are like Mexican fighters. They go through the gears, and they break you down round by round by round. And they don't. There's no up and down. They just go through the gears. They start at the first gear and end up in 5th gear. And I just think as the fight goes on, even though it's in Cardiff, I think that Rakhimov breaks him down and wins a close decision. Hopefully it's not a disputed decision, but I really like him, and I just think Cordina will start fast, but I just think as it goes on, I think Rakhimov breaks him down and wins a decision, a close decision.
All right. More people picking Rakhimov in the chat. I'm surprised. Joe Calix, Cordina, Rakhimov. They're both coming off pretty exciting wins, actually. Cordina with a knockout of the year candidate. Who's going to win this fight, in your opinion?
Smart money's on Cordina by decision. He's about 3-1 favorite. Cordina's a good fighter. It was surprising that he beat Ogawa the way he beat him, right? None of us expected a knockout. And no, actually going into that fight, we expected if it's a knockout, Ogawa wins. If it's a decision, Cordina wins. But what happens? Cordina by knockout, and that's why you fight the fights, right? And it was a knockout of the year. That was a brutal knockout and a great performance. And I was shocked that the IBF stripped they stripped Cordina that quick. That was brutal. That was brutal. So he gets a shot right back at getting the belt back, fighting a southpaw who can punch. But I think Cordina is going to pass the test. He's slick. He's athletic. And I think he's going to win the fight by decision.
All right. Okay.
You're getting 3-1, Calix. You're not going to go at Rakhimov with 3-1?
Nah. I'm
not even really. All right.
Beeb, you know what I'm doing? I'm playing the long odds on Ryan. That's what I'm doing.
You going Ryan? You going Ryan?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Plus 700 by decision. Woo.
That's a good one right there. I think the fight goes the distance, man. I may do that too.
Those are some good odds, man.
Small money. Why not?
Okay. Well, look, I think I'm going to go with Joe Cordina. I think he does win the decision here. I think it's going to be tough for the last 4 or 5 rounds, I think. And he might be hanging on for dear life, I think, in the last few rounds. But I think the energy of the crowd, being there with his people I think that's going to help him out in this fight, believe it or not. So hopefully he could get through that, but we'll see, man. I don't think Cordina's going to get a knockout like that again. I just think that was just a perfect shot that he landed in that one fight against Ogawa. I don't think that's going to happen again. If it does, hey, I'm all for it. I'm definitely looking forward to that. What we're going to do now, right, the lightweight division. Now, I understand there's a big fight this weekend, Tank versus Ryan. We talked about it, but I want to talk about the entire lightweight division right now. And I want to know where everybody's head is at. I want the chat. I want you guys to give me your list as well, right? 1 through 5. 1 being obviously the best, and 5, number 5. So I'm going to start with Coach Malachi here. Give me your top 5 lightweights in the world, or top 5 from 1 to 5, or 5 to 1, however you want to do it.
This is hard because, I have a boxing criteria, so the only way I'm going to know who the top guys are, they would have to mix it up and fight each other. I will have a better conclusion after Ryan Garcia and Tank fights Saturday, and then of course Lomachenko and Devin Haney fight. Process of elimination. That's how I'd like to do it. And I'm not going to say that Devin Haney is the number 1 guy because he have the belts when you haven't fought the other guys and vice versa. So that's how I do it. That's my criteria. But I would say this is a tough one. All right, I'm not even going to put an order. I'm gonna just say Haney, Tank, Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, and Shakur. I just in that order. I just say it like that.
Okay, all right. Chat, let me know what your top 5 is. Jeff, what's your top 5 lightweight right now?
I'm kind of feeling Coach Malachi. I'm not wanting to number them, but I'm also a stickler for the history of the sport. And so Eddie Hearn is Lord Devon's turn. He's the undisputed champion. I got to put him in there at number 1. The other 4, you can argue and debate all you want, but I'm not going to neglect the fact that he has all the belts. When you're undisputed, you can't dispute it. That's the whole point of undisputed. And I hate that we're in this era now where it's like the belts don't matter. And that's a whole different ideological discussion. But for now, it's Lord Devin Haney. The other 4, just like Coach Malachi was saying, Shakur, Tank, Loma, Ryan, in any order. When push come to shove, off just being my selfish, biased eyeball test, Shakur beating every one of them. So that's just what I think. Shakur's that dude. But yeah.
All right. Joe Habib, give me a top 5, brother. Come on, give me an order, brother. Come on.
Crazy thing is, Ring IQ brought up a good point, and I'm guilty of going against this point so many times. Is you can't rank guys based off of who you think's going to win or potential. You got to rank it off accomplishments. And I really want to put Shakur at number 1, but I can't because he just arrived. But I think he beats all of them. But with that being said, I can't do that. So we just got to do it based off of the criteria in terms of what they've done and what they've achieved. So Devin is undisputed right now. So out of respect, I got to put him at number 1. Lomachenko was close to being undisputed, and he's got probably the best resume in this division at this particular time. So I'll have to give him number 2. Tank Davis has, like I said, a solid resume. He's been impressive. He's been active, so I got to give him that. I'll put him at number 3. Then I'll put Shakur at number 4, and then see Ryan's been up at 140, and he's so he really hasn't been consistent at 135, and he's been so inactive. I want to put Ryan at number 5, but I'm going to put Isaac Cruz at number 5 because he's in the division, and Ryan is actually moving down from 140. He fought his last 2 fights at 140 and was saying he was moving up anyway. So because of that, I'm not going to put Ryan in this top 5. So I'll put Isaac Cruz at number 5.
Okay. All right. Lyndon, what's your top 5 at lightweight, brother?
Yeah. Look, actually, surprisingly, I'm almost the same as Joe. I've got Devin Haney at number 1. It's I think Jeff's right. It's called undisputed for a reason. There is no disputing it. He is number 1. I've got Lomachenko number 2, Tank Davis number 3, and even though he's only had 1 fight, I think you've got to put Shakur Stevenson in there at number 4. Look, number 5 was an interesting one because look, I've taken. Normally, I would have had Ryan Garcia, but the fact he's been inactive and now looks to be campaigning at 140, I've taken him out. I've got a very controversial number 5, guys. I've got our man George Kambosos. I think he's been written off way too quickly. He was undisputed champion. The only 2 losses are to Devin Haney, which is no disgrace. Look, if he does fight a Shakur or another contender, or Max Hughes looks like he's going to fight next, if he loses to those guys, of course, put him out. But I think he's been written off way too quickly. That Teofimo Lopez fight to us Australians is one of the greatest achievements of all time for an Australian boxer. But as I said, I think the fact his only 2 losses are to Devin Haney, I think you've still got to have him in the mix. And I've got him at number 5.
All right. Calix, what's your top 5 at lightweight?
Devin, number 1. That's easy. He's got all the trophies that matter in his trophy case at 135. That's easy. Number 1. There is no other person you can put at number 1. Number 2, Lomachenko. Still got Lomachenko number 2. I got Tank number 3. Shakur number 4, and I see Haplo in the chat saying, he's only fought once at 135. The thing with 135 is it's such an underperforming, underwhelming division with the talent that they have. It kind of mirrors 147 in that way. So it doesn't take much. I mean, the eye test of Shakur and just moving up to the division tells us he's likely top 5 already. And I have to agree with Lyndon. I got Kambosos number 5 because his 2 losses were to the king of the division. So I can't drop him much further, especially when, who am I going to put above him? Isaac Cruz, who doesn't have a quality win at 135 himself. Frank Martin's right there. And if you ask me what my list will be at the end of the year, Frank Martin will probably be in the top 5 if he fights, if his handlers allow him to fight, right? So it wouldn't surprise me to see Frank Martin go above Kambosos later in the year. But as of right now, I got Kambosos as a nice placeholder at number 5, and I can't put Ryan in the top 5. I don't even have Ryan. Ryan's not a lightweight. He hasn't fought at lightweight since January 2021, so he's no longer a lightweight. So he's a 140 pounder. If you want to rank him, you got to rank him at 140.
All right. I have Devin Haney number 1 because he is the undisputed champion. I understand that there's more to prove. But boxing's always like that. There's always that next guy. It's if you do it right and everybody fights each other, eventually a contender rises up, and that doesn't stop really, right? I don't know how long he'll be in the division, but I got Haney at number 1. I am going to put Lomachenko number 2 based a lot on accomplishment. I do agree. I think both Joe, Calix, I think somebody else had Shakur at 3. I will have him there as well. And I get he's only had 1 fight, but he was very dominant at 130, which is just one division right below that. And he's looking really good in this division. We can discern a little bit from that, right? And I think eye test does matter a little bit. 4 and 5 gets interesting. I am going to put Kambosos number 4, quite frankly. I think the win over Teofimo, keep in mind, if we're going to have Loma number 2 and Teofimo beat Loma, we can't have Kambosos that far, in my opinion. All right. So I have to put him number 4 personally. And number 5, I'll go with Isaac. No, well, I'll go with Tank. All right. Now, I know a lot of people, they really like Tank, but Tank's going to fight this is a step up for Tank this Saturday. This is the best opponent Tank's, and Ryan, by the way. But Tank has never fought anybody in the top 5 of any division since Pedraza. That's just a fact, right? So putting him in the top 5 is kind of tough for me. He was struggling with Raleigh before he knocked him out, but I guess he got the knockout. But nobody was high on Raleigh. Like, Raleigh got a gift decision. I'm just saying. So I'll put Tank number 5. Yes, I have Kambosos over Tank. It is what it is, right? Now, do I think Kambosos can beat Tank? No, I don't, right? Stylistically. But it is what it is. That's my list, and I'm sticking to it, all right? Of course, after a win over Ryan, if he does win, then, of course, we got to move Tank up for sure. With that said, Calix, really quick, what's your prediction for the Ryan Tank fight?
I really don't have a good handle on it. I got to be honest with you, because when we watch Saturday night, it'll be 2 big question marks walking into the ring. That's what we got, D-Style. I mean, you got 2 guys who collectively have 17 years of experience who just haven't given us much to go off of, unfortunately. And, this is close to a toss-up fight. In Vegas, and B follows the odds too. Vegas has the rehydration clause with the 136-pound catch weight priced into this. And he's still only a 2.5 to 1 favorite over Ryan. So I just don't understand this narrative out there that if Ryan beats Tank, it'll be a huge shock, because it's not. It's not. We just witnessed Fundora lose as an 11 to 1 underdog. We witnessed last week Zhang upset Joyce as a 9 to 1. Those were exceedingly more shocking than what you would see if Ryan beats Tank. I've just never bought into this narrative that Tank is this unbeatable fighter. He's not. He's flawed. Ryan's flawed. And there's a reason, we've said it, D-Style. I've said it on my channel a million times. People get tired of hearing me. There are 2 ways you can rate fighters. It's you rate them by how their handlers handle them and how other fighters in the division react when their names come up. The other fighters in the division aren't afraid of Tank. When Tank moved up to 140, everybody was calling him out. Everybody's calling him out at 135. And on top of that, his handlers have been bubble wrapping him, Ryan as well, throughout their career. So both these fighters are beatable. To me, it's like a 51-49 fight. I'm going to put a little money down on Ryan with the odds, try to win some money, especially at a plus 700 with the decision, and we'll see what happens. But nothing would shock me here. No result would shock me. Even a draw would not shock me. But I'll take Ryan. I'll take Ryan to win.
All right. There we go. He picked Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. All right. My pick's Ryan's too, but I agree it's a very, 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 very tough fight. Another thing that's very noticeable is that this division has a lot of talent with a lot of fighters that need to fight each other, right? And it's a start. These 2 big fights that we have at lightweight is a start for sure. So we'll see where we go from here. Now, PBC. I want to talk about PBC here. 3 champions in particular. Me and Calix on Monday, I believe was it Sunday? We celebrated the 1-year anniversary of Errol Spence being inactive without a fight. He has no injury, okay, that I know of. Like he's got no fight scheduled, right? So it's a year and counting, right? Got nothing going on. He's got 3 of the straps. He hasn't had an IBF mandatory since Ocampo, but we got Boots over there, just waiting for his shot. I don't know what the hell's going on, but 1 year now inactive, right? Oh, but that's just one guy. Okay, we have Jermell. 1 year. He's approaching the 1 year mark. We don't know what the hell's going on with Jermell. Now, I get, at least with Jermell, we know that there's an injury, right? I get that, but I have a lot to say about that. But we'll get there. But he's approaching a year. And then the one that's completely inexcusable to me is Jermall. He is approaching 700 days inactive, 2 years, and still nothing scheduled. By the time the schedule, it's at least 2 months out. Nothing scheduled at all. Like nothing. I don't know what the hell's going on. And then Mauricio's asked about it, and he's like, he's going through a lot. He has a lot of problems. He has mental illness. Like I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what the hell. Like Jermall he's got something to Mauricio, naked picture of Mauricio, compromising shit, or it's Al Heyman. They got something to Mauricio Suleiman. I don't know what it is. Right?
Whoa.
I don't know what the hell they got. Because like people can tell me all day, oh, it's the money. Well, you can't charge him a sanction if he ain't fighting. Unless there's some money under the table. I don't know what the hell's going on. What's with these PBC fighters?
Please.
And before I take it to the panel, Batista, Jermell has an injury. Hey, Jermell was the one that wanted, like, they booked the fight with Tim Tszyu 7-8 months out. 7-8 months out. Like what? Why do you make us wait so long? And then you get injured, and then everything stops. The world stops for Jermell because you're injured. Guess what? When Tom Brady got injured that 1 year, he didn't get to play. All right? The Patriots have to go out there and play. All the teams have to go out there and play. Okay, they didn't stop the NFL season because Tom Brady couldn't play. All right? They don't stop rugby seasons because the dude can't play. Okay, if Roger Federer, I don't even know that dude's still playing. My tennis is outdated. But if he got injured, they didn't stop the U.S. Open. Oh, we're not going to do the Australian Open because Nadal's injured, guys. Okay, he's going through a mental. No, you still do the tournament, right? Any other sport in the UFC, if you can't fight, all right, whatever. They do an interim champion right away, and they keep it moving. We got to keep it moving. The world does not stop spinning because you got injured. It just doesn't. Hey, I'm all for, okay, when you come back, you get first dibs. You get a title shot right. I'm all for that. But how long am I supposed to wait? Like, how long? And then the other two is inexcusable. Like Spence. What are you doing? And then Jermall, I don't even have an explanation for that. So I'll take it to the panel. Should any of them get stripped? I'll start with Beeb.
It's disgusting that the legend Manny Pacquiao, when he fought Ugas, right? It was supposed to be for the WBA title, but they stripped Manny Pacquiao for what? Inactivity, and he's a legend, right? These guys have been inactive just as long, probably more inactive than he was, and they're not being stripped. I agree with you. These guys should. If it goes up to a year and longer, then you should be stripped. Regardless of the situation, you should just be stripped. Give you champion emeritus status, like you said. You go to the front of the line when you come back. You get an automatic title shot, right? You don't lose your place in line. But if you're going to be inactive for a year or more, then they got to strip you. I think that should just be a rule. No ands, ifs, ors about it. Just strip a guy if he's out for a year or more. I can't believe they stripped Manny Pacquiao, but they don't strip Keith Thurman, who was out longer than Manny Pacquiao. They're not stripping either Charlo brother or Errol Spence, but they stripped the legendary Manny Pacquiao. In what world is that even normal? It's disgusting.
So all three, you're saying all three should be stripped?
All three. Get them out of it. All three.
Man. No, zero tolerance.
Just give them merit status. Right?
Okay.
I got to fill out FMLA paperwork when I go out on leave, right? If I don't fill out the FMLA paperwork, guess what happens? I can't come back. It's that simple. Beeb's an emeritus worker when he goes on FMLA. I haven't done it in a while, but it's just the way it works.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. Lyndon, how do you feel about these three? And do you agree with Joe? All three, maybe just some? And how do you feel about the whole situation?
Mate, it's probably the most frustrating thing about boxing, apart from, of course, the best not fighting the best. But, mate, you couldn't have said it any better yourself, that what you said before. I think I agree with you 100%. I think all three should be stripped. And I can't believe in this day and age of, there's 4 world champions, but there's still belts being held hostage consistently by fighters. So, look, I think there should be ironclad policy in place. It seems to be a body by body type of thing, or fighter by fighter type of thing, or even division by division. Who knows? But either way, it should be 12 months, and you are automatically stripped. And you see it even recently with the Tim Zhu Charlo situation. At least the WBO got on the front foot and said, at least we're going to get you guys to fight for the interim championship. At least it's something. All the others have said nothing. And so I think it's ridiculous. And as I said, it's very, very frustrating. But, yeah, 1 year, automatically stripped. Yes, you get the first shot once you're able to fight, but 1 year and you are officially gone as champion, and keep these belts moving all the time.
All right. Coach Malachi, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, this is very interesting because, you know, I always felt for a long time Jermell Charlo definitely should have been stripped. And I tell people time and time again, because a lot of people like to make these things something more than what it is, and it's other than what it is. Mauricio Suleiman, I tell these guys, these sanctioning bodies, they don't care nothing about skin color. You know what I mean? You know, for whatever the reason may be, Jermell Charlo is able to hold on to his belt for dear life for almost 2 years of inactivity. So I don't know, how do you explain that? Of course, we know there's something, boxing is a corrupt sport. So we pretty much got an idea what's going on as it relates to that. Errol Spence Crawford, they're fighting. That fight is done. They're going to be, I don't know when they're going to announce it, but it's done. And I know that for actual fact. I've been knowing that since about February. As it relates to, who else we talking about? Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo. Now that's strange. He was injured. I think it's been about a year, right? He's fought.
Yeah, it's approaching a year.
It's approaching a year. So, and he's got hurt twice. Well, not twice, but he broke his hand and he had a setback or whatever. He had surgery or whatever. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This entire PBC thing with with the Charlos and Spence and Mauricio Suleiman, it's crazy. Like, Mauricio Suleiman, when you ask him certain questions, well, it's to the discretion of the WBC. Like, he talks in circles. He doesn't answer questions. He talks like a politician. And it's like, bruh, again, bruh, I don't, man, I'm not going to lie to you, D-Star. I'm done with these sanctioning bodies. It seems like the WBC and the WBA, especially those guys, they change the rules, make up rules, wherever they go along. People complain and say, hey, man, the sanctioning body let Canelo do what he wants to do. But they ignore Jermell Charlo? They ignore, how do you ignore Jermell Charlo? This man haven't fought since 1972, but he's still holding on to a belt. And it's like, and I'm looking at the article, when we spoke to Jermell Charlo, at the what it was a fight, not PBC fight, not too long ago. It was Caleb Plant, David Benavidez fight. We spoke to him at the fight, and the conversation was very encouraging. And look, what the fuck that means? It was very encouraging. The man had the belt for almost 2 years. He ain't fought nobody. You gonna strip the belt and let somebody else fight for it or not? Make him a champion in recess. When he's going through problems. Okay, he's going through problem with his wife. Okay, what to do? What fighter's not going through problems with their wife? What fighter's not going through problems with whatever they're going through? Okay, he has problems. He's too, his problems is too much to where he can't fight. Fine, I have no problem with that. Let me get that. Hold up, swole up. Let me get that belt, baby boy. I got somebody else, some other people that need to fight for that belt. And once you get everything together, then we'll make sure that you can get back in the fold to fight for it and get it again. That's what they should do, but they're not doing that. But that's Mauricio Suleiman for you. That's Mauricio Suleiman. That's all I have to say.
The thing is that he's going through a lot of problems, and we need to have empathy. Have empathy for Jermall and be supportive of him. Like, okay. Hey, Jeff, well, what do you make of it? Do you feel different about each situation here, and who should be stripped out of these three?
Oh, Lord. Well, first things first, let me lay down this premise. Every sport involving money and power is going to have corruption in it, whether it be Robert Kraft or it's the Houston Astros or it's Nancy Kerrigan. Let's talk about boxing, right? Boxing is this beautifully gold foil wrap pile of shit. You want to, look at the nice gold. Don't dig too deep because you're going to get poop all over your fingers. That's just how it's going to be. I agree with my man Lyndon over here and be zero tolerance. If you haven't defended it in a year, take the damn belt. But that's not how it works. There's too many brown paper bags going around. And there's no specific culprit out here. You can't just pick one. You can't just say Leo Santa Cruz and Gary Russell Jr. and Jermell and Jermall. I mean, we could talk about the IBF taking Joe Cordina's belt after 1 week. We could talk about how, Howard Foster threw Mike Polite Coffee under the bus to set up the Frazier Clark fight with, it's not what's going on with Conor Benn. Like, how did Denny Dubois get his eye socket busted, but he's next in line to fight Usyk? If it's what benefits Al, whatever Bob orders, whatever Frank wants, like they all, Mauricio Hilberto and all the promoters, they go to Jeff Epstein's island every year and do a circle jerk human centipede style, and it's at the expense of us as boxing fans. And that's cool. I love the sport. I'm gonna watch this thing anyways.
Whoa!
So it is what it is. I don't play the sides. They're all sociopaths. It's like, oh, a righteous politician. Fuck out of here with that. Like, you're not gonna find one. But yeah, I love the sport. And 1 year, 0 tolerance. Get rid of the belt. I ain't hearing it. If I gotta show up to work, despite the fact I don't feel like it, or my lower back is kind of irritated and aching, then they gotta show up to work too. Sorry, it's not my fault if you married a thought and she's like messing with your money and throwing you out the house, Andy Reid style. I don't care. Like you gotta handle your business, and their job is to fight. I didn't choose that path. They chose that path. Then fight or give up the belts and stop holding up the division. It's bad enough we got Canelo doing it at 160 and 168. You know what I mean? Like it's like a disease that's infecting other divisions. Like I'm over it. But yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the sport for what it is and strip all those motherfuckers if they don't fight after a year.
Damn.
Hot Boxing Minute.
All right. Hey, Calix, so how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it, Calix?
Inactivity. You already know how I feel about inactivity. And it's especially tough to swallow when you see a guy like the Weasel come out yesterday, Steven Espinoza, and throw fans under the bus as to why pay-per-views aren't selling and piracy and all this stuff, when they've constructed this new boxing model in which they have fighters on the shelf. And that's incredibly frustrating when he's citing the music market from the early 2000s and what they did to solve piracy, right? And they're going in the opposite direction of what the music business did. They're making their fighters and their artists less accessible, right? What musicians understood back then, Jay-Z perfectly said it. I smartened up, opened the market up. He realized I put out an album, whether they're going to pirate it or not. I'm going to put out an album every year, whether it goes stagnant or not. I'm opening the market up. This is a vehicle for me to get in the door. You know what's embarrassing, D-Style, is we really have 3 fighters in the sport with real marketing deals, with real endorsement deals. Canelo, AJ, and Golovkin. That's it. Golovkin's got the Jordan brand. Canelo's got his deals. AJ's got 11 million plus, but nobody else. These other dudes they're saying is the face of boxing. The guy fighting Saturday, he's got one deal, and it's with Under Armour. And the people that are out there canceling people don't even care enough about him to go and cancel him for putting his hands on women. They don't even care enough to take the Under Armour deal from him. And his Under Armour deal, after he gives his management money and pays taxes, he gets like $250,000 a year. These are baby deals.
So are you arguing that?
Do you know the girl that just won the national championship for LSU in basketball? This is a female basketball player. She's projected to make over $2 million per year starting next year in NIL money. This is a female basketball player. And these boxers can't even get 6-figure deals.
Okay, but are you arguing that it's okay they should keep the belts or they should strip them?
No. It's the inactivity, D-Style. So strip them all. I'm for stripping them all. It's inactivity, strip them all. With Mel, it's a little murkier because of the injury. With Spence, if this fight with Crawford they're working on the back deal. I'm sure the sanctioning bodies know that, so they're not going to strip him, right? With Maul, it's just ridiculous. Strip the guy. But what it comes down to is an inactivity, and we need to be pulling guys out of rankings if they're inactive after a year. Everybody needs to be pulling these guys out of rankings if they're not active for a year.
Yeah, look, Jermall 100% stripped. He should have been stripped. The fact that this guy hasn't fought in almost 700 days is unacceptable. Like that is crazy to me, right? And he set a bad precedent too. It's hard to argue to strip one guy, right? When you have Jermall over here, it hasn't done shit. Okay, it's going to be hard to force a dude to defend his belt, right? Whoever it is, when you still have that same situation. So, Jermell, I would say it's a little harder to say, but I still think you strip him with the caveat that he gets first bids if he comes back. And Spence, I would definitely strip him, especially the IBF, because he hasn't done anything with the IBF title. All right, those are my thoughts, but inactivity definitely hurts boxing. I want to thank everybody. By the way, hit that like button before you all go. I want to thank Joe Habib, Lyndon, Coach Malachi, Jeff, and Calix Boxing. That is the show. See everybody around, and we're out. Peace.